Hello there, very good evening and a warm welcome to the news live on Rupavahini ChannelEye. I'm Sharon Mascrinius.
Good evening, I'm Stefan Dalwis. Let's take a look at the top stories for tonight.
Today marks the second anniversary of the Easter Sunday attack. The Prime Minister reiterates in Parliament that all those responsible for the attack will be brought before the law. The President instructs state ministers to directly intervene to enhance efficiency in state institutions. Several stern decisions to control the spread of the corona pandemic in the country.
On to the stories in detail now, starting off with local news. Today marks the completion of 2 years of the occurrence of a series of bomb blasts on the Easter Sunday, which had deprived many persons of their lives and recreated the fears of terrorism among the Sri Lankan public. 269 persons were killed in bomb expositions carried out in 8 locations, including 3 churches and 3 luxury hotels. The police have declared recently that the mastermind of the attack was an extremist gang leader named Naufal Maulavi. The Attorney General has stated yesterday that accordingly, charges will be filed shortly against him and other persons responsible for the attacks. Bombs were blasted, drenching in blood the Catholic churches of St. Anthony's Kochikade, St. Sebastian's Church Katuapitiya and Zion Church Batticaloa during morning services on the Easter Sunday, regarded as a sacred day of the Catholics. In addition, suicide terrorist bomb attacks had been conducted in the luxury hotels of the Shangri-La, the Kingsbury and the Cinnamon Grand, terrorizing the entire Colombo city. The extremist terrorists had targeted locals and foreigners taking their breakfast. 46 foreign nationals from 14 countries were among the victims of 269 persons killed in the series of unanticipated attacks. Nearly 500 persons were injured. Out of the 45 persons killed in the blast at the Zion Church in Batticaloa were 14 children. At the Shangri-La Hotel premises, 2 suicide bombers had detonated their explosive devices. In each of the other locations, only a single bomb was blasted. One of the bombers, who was unable to fulfill his target, had blown up himself at a lodge near the Devala Zoological Gardens. Another bomb exposition had taken place during a raid conducted by the security divisions, including the Mavila Gardens police station in Dematagoda. 2 police officials were killed in this incident. The subsequent investigations had revealed that the house subjected to a bomb explosion on this occasion belonged to a business family, which aided the terrorist acts by investing large sums of money. It had also been revealed that 2 of the suicide bombers were the sons of businessmen of that residence. The police and the army had been successful in arresting more than 40 persons who had maintained direct contacts with the attackers.
කියන ප්‍රශ්නය ජාත්‍යන්තර ඔත්තු සේවා මගින් අපේ රජයට දන්වලා තිබෙනවා. අප්‍රේල් මාසේ 4 වෙනිදා මුල්වන. මේක මේ සිදුවීමට දවස් 17කට පෙර. 9 වෙනිදා මේ පිළිබඳව පළවෙනි ලියවිල්ල ආරක්ෂක අමාත්‍යාංශයෙන් ආරක්ෂක ලේකම්වරයා වෙනුවෙන් සිසිර මෙන්ඩිස් මහත්මයා පොලිස්පතිවරයාට දන්වා යවලා. මේ ප්‍රශ්න කල්ලියේ සමාජිකයින්ගේ නම් පවා දන්වලා යවලා.
පියායිනේ නවලෝක රෝහලේ දැන් සති 3ක් තිස්සේ ප්‍රතිකාර වෙන්නේ ඊයේ රෑමට කතා කරලා කිව්වා මේ පල්ලියට එහෙම යන්න එපා මෙහෙම දෙයක් ආරංචියක් තියෙනවා මම තාත්තට කිව්වා පිස්සුද කියලා මේ කාලේ කවුද බෝම්බ ගහන්නේ කියලා.
So far, more than 100 suspects have been taken into custody in this connection. Many of them have been remanded and investigations are also being conducted on several other suspects placed under detention orders. A terrorist named Zahran Hashim had organized the attacks and himself engaged in a suicide bomb explosion. All plans relating to the attacks had been prepared in the Kathankudi area, and it remains unresolved puzzle even up to this date as to why appropriate action had not been taken regarding an increase in extremist activities observed in the area. Several months prior to the attack, 2 officials at the police checkpoint in Batticaloa were killed by slitting their throats and their weapons were stolen. Furthermore, an explosive depot at a training camp were detected at Laktawatta in Wanatawillua. A youth in Mavanalla who had assisted in the intelligence division's investigations of such terrorist acts was shot to death in his bed, and Buddha statues in Mavanalla were damaged as well. Later investigations revealed that the terrorist activities in Mavanalla had been conducted by the same terrorist group engaged in the Easter Sunday attack. 5 days prior to the Easter Sunday attack, the terrorists were reported to have tested the strength of a bomb by attaching it to a motorcycle and exploding in Kathankudi. It has also become a question as to why the previous regime failed to identify the premonitions of such a massive and brutal operation. It had also become a blessing in disguise to the terrorists over the sudden transferring of officials who were engaged in detailing investigations of the activities of the extremists for several years. The intelligence divisions had been receiving information on extremist activities several days prior to the series of attacks. Many facts relating to sabotage of investigation on extremism have been revealed only after calling for evidence at the Presidential Commission investigating the attack. The Presidential Commission appointed by the President Gotabaya Rajapaksa had delivered its report, including recommendations recently. It has also presented recommendations regarding the persons responsible for the attack. According to these recommendations, several extremist organizations have been banned in Sri Lanka with effect from the 10th of this month.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa says measures are underway to bring before the law all those who were responsible for the brutal terror attack on Easter Sunday 2 years ago. He made these remarks delivering a special statement in Parliament today. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa said that the government will not mediate in the judicial process, but as a responsible government it will extend fullest assistance for the successful implementation of the procedures. The President has made all arrangements for the conducting of the investigations of the Department of Criminal Investigation in the most independent manner. The Prime Minister has expressed hope that the department would take legal measures at the end of the investigations. He also said that they remember with great sadness the 259 persons killed in the attacks, including the foreign nationals. He has also wished speedy recovery for those still suffering from the injuries sustained in the attacks. Due to the negligence in performing the responsibilities, the innocent people have been victimized. He added that certain groups are trying to create an adverse impact on the investigations and divert the attention of the masses on irrelevant issues. The Prime Minister added that the present government will not leave any room for the reoccurrence of such unfortunate incidents in the future. He further said that all those who are responsible will be brought before the justice.
සවාදීනව සිදු කරගෙන යාමට අවශ්‍ය පහසුකම් අතිගරු ජනාධිපතිතුමා විසින් සලසා දී තිබෙනවා. මේ පරීක්ෂණ අවසානයේ ඒ දෙපාර්තමේන්තුව විසින් අධිකරණ ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගැනීමට ඉදිරියේදී කටයුතු කරයි කියලා අපට විශ්වාසයි. පසුගිය රජය විසින් සිදු කළ අපරාධී නොසලකා හැරීම මගහැරීම සහ ජාතික ආරක්ෂාව සහ තමන් දේශපාලන කටයුතු පටලවා ගැනීමෙන් අවසානයේදී වන්දි ගෙවීමට සිදු වුණේ අහිංසක ජනතාවට. ආදත් එම ප්‍රහාරයට වගකිය යුතු කොට්ටාස් විවිධ බොරු සමාජගත කරමින් විමර්ශනවලට බලපෑම් කරමින් සමාජ අවධානය වෙනත් දිශාවට යොමු කිරීමට කටයුතු කරමින් සිටිනවා. අපි එම පිරිස පිළිබඳව කනගාටුයි. ඊට අමතරව මියගිය සියලුම මේ මොහොතේ සිහිපත් කරන අතරම එවන් අවාසනාවන්ත තත්ත්වයක් කිසිදා ඇති නොවීමටත් අප රජයක් ඇටියට ක්‍රියාමාර්ග ගනිමින් සිටිනවා. ඒ වගේම මෙම කුරිරු ප්‍රහාරයේ වගකිය යුතු සියලු දෙනාම නීතිය අමුට ගෙනෙන්නත් අප කටයුතු කරන බවට අවසාන වශයෙන් කියන්න කැමැතියි.
A 1-minute silence was observed in memory of those killed in the attack, according to a request of the Prime Minister. Meanwhile, a group of MPs of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya have arrived in Parliament dressed in black-coloured clothing. However, a special feature has been that some of the Samagi Jana Balawegaya MPs, including member Rauf Hakim, were not wearing black clothing. Member Rishad Bathuddin was not present in the chamber today. The Speaker has to adjourn parliamentary proceedings for several minutes due to an intense situation that has arisen regarding the debate on the report on political victimization scheduled to be commenced tomorrow. MPs in the government benches were seen expressing their protests over those in the previous administration who had failed to take measures to prevent the occurrence of the Easter attack. More opinions have been expressed on the Easter attack following resumption of the proceedings.
The main ceremony in connection with the commemoration of the second anniversary of the Easter attack was held at St. Anthony's Church in Kochikade this morning. Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, presided over the event. The commemoration ceremonies have been organized giving prominence to Buddhist, Hindu, Islam and Christian religious observances. A 2-minute silence was maintained in memory of those killed in the attack. Thereafter, the ringing of church bells also recalled the tragedy.
We are gathered here today to pay respect to all those relatives, friends, including those foreign friends who were victimized in brutal attack 2 years ago. Dear friends, we can feel your shock and pain, what you have had 2 years ago on this particular day. We have had such experiences throughout 3 decades in recent history. That is why we came to this place, this church, within 2 hours of this brutal attack, and we shared the grievances with the Reverend Fathers here, and then with the people who were crying outside. Then we visited the ceremonial mass burial in Katuapitiya church premises. Reverend Cardinal Malcolm Ranjit's advice to the nation, to the Catholic people, not only Catholic people, but to all the nation, which says that there is no responsibility with Muslim people with this brutal attack. Muslim people are not responsible. We appreciate, Reverend Sir, your timely advice and wise and moderate advice. That is what people followed well. Religion is to calm minds. Religion is to promote kindness and compassion. Religion is to promote unity and integrity among the followers. So I quote the Buddha, Nahi verena verani sammanti the kudacharan. Hatred will be never ceased by hatred. Hatred can be ceased by compassion, love, and kindness. Therefore, we as religious people must come together with unity to combat terrorism through our valuable religious teaching. On this regard, the government responsibility is deeper. Government should act properly according to the law and order to combat and eradicate terrorism, not only terrorism, but the root cause of terrorism, in order to establish peace and harmony in this land.
Dr. Hassan Maulana expressed his wishes for eternal bliss for those killed in the attack. He also conveyed his condolences to all those who had confronted the tragedy. Shiva Suresh Kurukul said that his requests all Islamic devotees to live as honourable Sri Lankan citizens. All those who possess extremist mindset should come out of it. Archbishop of Colombo, His Eminence Malcolm Cardinal Ranjit, said that it is imperative to grant justice to those victimized by the Easter Sunday attack. His Eminence further said that they will never forget the immense feeling of brotherhood and patience extended by the general public, headed by the Mahasangha in the hour of calamity. The truth should never be undermined. The Archbishop of Colombo further said that it is not a part of the noble philosophy taught by Lord Jesus Christ to bow down the head to injustice. His Eminence further said that it has become clear through the atrocities committed that the scapegoats of any carnage caused by the religious extremism or any other such acts are the innocent masses.
අතකොළුව වන්නේ වෙන කෙනෙකුගේ හෝ කණ්ඩායමක ආත්මාර්ථකාමී අභිලාෂය සඳහා බව පාස්කු ඉරිදින ප්‍රහාරයෙනුත් ලෝකයේ සිදුවන සෙසු එවැනි ප්‍රචණ්ඩ සිදුවීම් වලිනුත් පැහැදිලි වෙනවා.
A special service was also conducted at the St. Sebastian's Church in Katuapitiya this morning. Candles were lit and bouquets of flowers were placed in front of the monument constructed to remember the dead on Easter Sunday attack. A special service was also held at the Zion Church in Batticaloa, presided over by the chief clergy of the church, Reverend Roshan Mahesan.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has lit a lamp in remembrance of those killed in the Easter attack at the Temple Trees today. A 2-minute silence has also been observed. Madam Shiranthi Wickramasinghe Rajapaksa, Minister Johnston Fernando, State Minister Nimal Lansa and Indika Anuruddha, Secretary to the Ministry of Buddha Sasana, Religious and Cultural Affairs, Professor Kapila Gunawardena, were also present on the occasion.
President Gotabaya Rajapaksa stressed that measures should be taken to put an end to the accusation that the people are unable to fulfill their expected tasks from the government institutions that provide public services. President Rajapaksa expressed these views at the monthly review meeting held in the state ministers at the President's house in Fort this morning. The President said that a number of pledges made in the National Policy Framework, Vistas of Prosperity and Splendour, have already been fulfilled even amidst the COVID-19 pandemic. He said that the people had pointed out the inefficiency, the corruption and the time-consuming process of certain state institutions as causes for the displeasure among the public. The President said that the issue could be resolved through the direct involvement of state ministers and the use of technology for an efficient public service. The President further said that there have also been reports of the heads of some institutions failing to perform their duties properly. President Rajapaksa, who asked state ministers for a report on such institutions that have not met for the government's targets, said that he is also ready to appoint new officials to these institutions if the need rises. The President also stressed the need to observe the progress and expedite the projects that have been funded through foreign loans and the allocations of the national budget. President Rajapaksa said that the strength of the government lies in the people. Accordingly, he said that the requirements of the public must be fulfilled immediately. The President said that the state ministers should carry out their duties without distancing from the people and also by paying attention to their plights. The government's policy is to generate employment opportunities. Therefore, the President pointed out the possibility of creating employment opportunities by empowering small and medium sector entrepreneurs at the village level. Meanwhile, the head of the Presidential Task Force on Economic Revival and Poverty Eradication, Mr. Basil Rajapaksa, said that it was natural for the prices of essential items to increase during the festive season. He said that the farmers are also unable to sell their produce and harvest due to the importation of some of the essential commodities. He said that the farmers are also unable to sell their produce and harvest due to the importation of some of the essential commodities. Head of the Presidential Task Force, Basil Rajapaksa, also appreciated the support and commitment extended by the government officials in distributing 5,000 rupee allowances. State Minister's Secretary to the President P.B. Jayasundara, Principal Advisor to the President Lalit Veeratunga, Finance Ministry Secretary S.R. Artigala and Public Administration Ministry Secretary J.J. Ratnasiri were also present at the occasion.
The Ministry of Health has taken several stern decisions to control the spread of the coronavirus. A special task force evaluation committee has met this morning under the leadership of Minister of Health Pavitra Vanniarachi. Among the decisions taken were to increase the number of beds in the intensive care units and the provision of high-flow oxygen to corona patients, strengthening of the methodology on the compilation of data and the provision of more safety kits for medical staff, including doctors and nurses. It has also been decided to direct the COVID-infected patients to appropriate hospitals according to their disease conditions. Decisions have also been made to identify more hospitals on the regional and district level for the treatment of COVID-19 patients and for the procurement of more medical supplies. It has also been decided to vibrantly maintain outpatient department and residential services for patients daily arriving hospitals for the treatment of the COVID-19 disease. Other decisions included to increase the number of daily PCR tests to at least 15,000, to sternly implement quarantine laws and to provide stringent punishments to those who violate quarantine laws, as well as to draft legislation on special quarantine for those arriving from overseas. It has been confirmed that a nurse attached to the Dikoya Base Hospital and her 12-year-old son were afflicted with the COVID-19 disease. The child is a student in grade 6 in a prominent school in Hatton. Several members of the staff and students in his classroom have been subjected to self-quarantine. Another 361 COVID-19 cases have been identified in the country today. A total of 121 patients were discharged from hospitals upon their recovery today. 5 corona deaths have been reported yesterday. They were residents of Mattakulia, Panadura, Ratnapura, Jaffna and Horana. The total number of COVID-19 recoveries in the country has increased up to 93,668 thus far, which is a percentage of 95.74%. Another 3,540 patients are still receiving treatments in hospitals.
Chief Epidemiologist Dr. Sudat Samaravira urges the public to be responsible in their conduct within the society, considering the increasing number of COVID-19 cases in the country. He extended his gratitude to the political parties and other stakeholders for suspending all May Day activities or celebrations, including rallies and meetings, in an attempt to curb the further spread of the virus. He made these remarks during a media briefing held today.
Coming couple of weeks will be very crucial for the control and prevention of COVID-19 in our country. At this moment, people should behave very responsibly, and if somebody is having symptoms of COVID-19, they should not come into the society, should not mix up with other people, should stay at home and should obtain medical advice, should do whatever necessary the medical personnel are giving advice in them. The people are not behaving like that. We have to expect that more and more cases will appear, and it will have a very negative effect on our economy and our day-to-day living, and also the future of our children, our school education and also higher education. So because of that we expect that all the people will act responsibly at this moment. And also that similar to Tamil New Year, in coming days there will be mass gathering events like May Day and also the Vesak, that we expect that this also should have some limitation and restriction. Yesterday at the COVID center, all the political leaders and representatives from the political parties has gathered and discussed about that, and all agreed that this time the May Day rallies or procession should not held in order to prevent COVID-19 spread in the country. We are very thankful to all the political parties who agreed not to have May Day rallies and procession this time, because that it is a very helpful movement for the COVID-19 prevention in our country.
And back at stories here at home, the 5-member panel of Supreme Court judges have ordered today to postpone further hearings on the petition filed challenging the Colombo Port City Economic Commission draft bill until tomorrow. The bench comprises Chief Justice Jayantha Jayasuriya and Justices Bhuvanekalu Vihare, Priyantha Jayawardena, Murthy Fernando and Janak De Silva. President's counsel Ramesh De Silva, appearing on behalf of the President's Secretary Dr. P.B. Jayasundara, who has presented an intermediary petition, has presented facts first. He said that the Constitution stipulates that the people's supremacy is being implemented through the President elected by the people. Attorney at law further said that the United National Party, the Samagi Jana Balavegya and other factions have not expressed their protests over the Colombo Harbour City Economic Zone concept. He also told the judiciary that a disturbing situation has been created due to the misinterpretation of the draft bill. The President has used the executive power vested upon by the people to establish the proposed commission and the appointment of its members. He has questioned as to what fault was there in such an act. The President's counsel further said that the President is bound by his duties to be responsible. If there is any displeasure over the appointment of any member to the relevant commission, any person has the right to take legal action in this connection. The President's counsel further said that an unnecessary fear has been created through misconception that foreigners are to be appointed as members of the proposed commission. He has recalled that in the past, non-Sri Lankan nationals had been appointed to the top posts in the Central Bank and the Sri Lankan Board of Investment. In response to a query raised by the Chief Justice, President's counsel Ramesh De Silva said that any person has the right to submit fundamental rights petition regarding the qualifications of the members of the Commission. The proposed commission is to be implemented according to a main program approved by the President. The President has the authority to amend the program. He also told the courts that the President has the powers to issue special orders as well as regular orders to the Commission in the interest of the state. He also said that commission will function fully under the supervision of the President. Therefore, the proposed commission is not able to act contravening the law of the country. The President's Council further said that commission will function along with the state mechanism. The appointment and the removal of the Director General of the proposed commission will be carried out on the approval of the President. The President will also function as the competent authority on disciplinary issues. He further said that petitions have accused that the auditory functions of the proposed commission would not come under the purview of the Auditor General. However, there is an ability to appoint an appropriate auditing company through discussions between the President, the Minister of Finance and the Auditor General according to the clause 154(2) of the Constitution. The President's Council further said that the Colombo Port City Zone comes under the jurisdiction of the Colombo Administrative District of the Western Province. A proposal in this connection has already been passed by Parliament. He added that therefore the argument raised by the petitioners regarding the formation of a separate independent state within the Port City Zone is based on unfounded facts. He also said that the Colombo Port City premises is a state land. Therefore, the President has no legal obstructions to hand over this land to the proposed commission. He also said that, as pointed out by the petitioners, it is not necessary to seek the approval of the Provincial Council for the transfer of the land. He also said that not a single clause in the proposed draft bill would lead to a violation of the Constitution. He added that the draft bill could be passed in Parliament through ordinary vote. President's Counsel Gamini Marpana, appearing on behalf of the Minister Professor J.R. Peiris, who has also presented an interim petition, said, according to the draft bill, the President has no powers against the law. The President is accountable to Parliament. The President's Council further said that if any unauthorized act was committed, the Parliament has the powers to question the President in this regard. President's Council Marapana further said that the content in the draft bill would not violate the Constitution of the country. President's Council Sanjeeva Jayawardena, appearing on behalf of Secretary to the Ministry of Finance S.R. Articular and the Secretary to the Cabinet Donald Fernando, said that the authority on the issuance of vistas to the arrivals at the Colombo Port City Zone will be entrusted solely upon the Department of Immigration and Emigration. The proposed commission will not have any authority in this regard. Presentation of further facts regarding the interim petitions has been put off till 9:30 tomorrow morning.
The Atomic Energy Regularity Commission says that it has informed a ship that has arrived in the Hambantota harbour yesterday due to a technical fault to immediately leave the port premises as it contained radioactive material. Director General of the Commission HL Anil Ranjit says that accordingly the ship was taken away from the harbour by around 10 o'clock this morning. The State Ministry for the Development of Solar Power, Wind and Hydropower generation projects says that it is hoping to take legal action against local representative of the relevant ship for violating the clauses 18 and 48 of Sri Lanka Atomic Energy Act No. 40 of 2014. Director General of the Commission HL Anil Ranjit said that this was not a vessel scheduled to be anchored in the Hambantota harbour. It was on its way to China and developed a technical fault and therefore requested entry to the Hambantota harbour to engage in repairing. The harbour master has granted permission for entry. However, it has been found out later on that the vessel contained radioactive material. Accordingly, an investigation has been carried out. As a result, the vessel was asked to vacate the harbour. According to the Sri Lankan law, a vessel or an aircraft is not allowed to bring radioactive material without the permission of the Atomic Energy Regularity Commission. That's it for the news this evening. Have a good night.